And in Florida. So it's
All
just
right, so
wherever people
the
catch me.
home base is LA, but we kind of shoot off from everywhere
I
else.
shoot off in different. You get it. Thank
I
you for
got it. I
getting
got it.
it. You're
And
a lot of people get it, but you went further with that. Yes, thank you.
I get it. And for those that don't know, we're here with Holly Hester, who is an actress, an author, an acrylic artist. We're going to talk about all of those things, and we're going to find out if Holly's. Are you a football guru? I don't know. We're going to make some picks and see if you make some people money, because we're here on crunching the numbers, and that's what we try to do. We're going to find out if you can help us out. So, Holly, pleasure to have you on.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So I have so much to talk about. Listen, when I was doing my research, obviously I put you into the little Google machine, and the first thing that popped up was Holly Hester, intern with David Letterman. Sadly, you're not that intern. But do you get that a lot?
I do. I used to get that a lot more. And in fact, I was in a community at the time. I was volunteering in a place, and one of the main heads of that actually came to me and was like, I got you, because they realized my heart. They were like, I got you. People have come even to me with this. I have cleared it up. I got you. You're not that person. I was so relieved, but I was also thankful that they came to me like this. Like they didn't come to me like, ha, in a mocking way. They came to me like, I got your back. We're all in this together. So I think is I had no idea. The funny thing is, people approached me in email right and left and were like, we'd love to do an interview. I'd love to schedule an interview with you, only because this chick was related to David Letterman. It was crazy how bombarded my email got.
Well, you didn't take advantage. Like you could charge for the interviews, and
I
after you
know,
receive the
right? I
payment,
should have.
hey, what happened with David Letterman? Oh, that wasn't me. Just leave it at that. No,
And at the time, I didn't build enough of a brand for myself. You're right, Anthony. My book was
you
back then. Man,
could
I
have
should
done.
have just taken
If
that.
you need PR, come to me. I've got you. Okay, so you're obviously not that person. Do you feel like has it ever like helped or hurt? Let's say you're going to an audition. I know you're auditioning for something right now with some pretty big names. I can't tell you, people. I'm sorry. With some pretty big names for stuff. Do you feel like it's had any effect on that audition process, or we're going to talk about your book, anything like that, or have people been able to distinguish between you and whoever that was?
Oh, they absolutely, Anthony, they absolutely distinguish now. They absolutely, and it's kind of a died over wave, like everything, how people just want hype. People like live for like the next opportunity in this world. It's so crazy, like the narcissism and the waves that just the shock factor, just to put it blatantly. So yeah, people are definitely over it. But what people are not over probably is how simple it can be to get that kind of media attention and the doors that open from that kind of media attention. So has in one way has it made me see how easy it can be and that kind of access to talk shows and this and that. Absolutely. So then there's that aspect of it. There's the business aspect of it, and there's the networking aspect of it. There's also the relationship and the rapport building aspect of it. But as far as the media and the destroying lives aspect, people are just kind of over it, and I think they pitied this girl more than anything. I don't know. I feel like David Letterman is also, because that happened, I think people let him write his career out. And I think that they're new and up and comers all the time, and that's kind of taken place and kind of been in people's faces more.
Yeah.
So there's always new things going.
No, I got it. So we're here with Holly Hester, who can be found. Your IG link is Higher Living Holly. So let's talk. Let's start there. Let's start with the book. So Higher Living. Where does it come from? Why do you write it? What are you trying to get out to the world with Higher Living?
Absolutely. Um, Great question. Higher Living began when I was doing media production and I was starting my show. I was starting to film in certain places before the famous pandemic hit. And when it hit, it shaped and reshaped a lot of ways of living for a lot of people. And when I say that everything changed with the dollar, everything changed. And I won't get political, but I'm saying everything changed with the dollar, with careers, with money, the way everyone looked at everything. How, people cooked at home. I mean, people just had to reroute their way of living, period. And so in that, I wrote a book thinking, you know what? I may not, I don't know who I am in everyone else's sight, and I don't know how many people know about me, but I'm going to show them a way in a mindset that is my mindset and from the things that I've worked through in life. And I'm just going to go and see if anyone will listen to the way I do things. Well, what makes the way I do things work and what makes the way I do things so special? Really nothing. But I did have some things. I did have a kind of a way going there when people would ask me. I've been to places now. I'm not saying I've traveled the world, not yet, but I hope to. I've been to a lot of places where people ask me, how not just how do I live higher, but how do I live they basically have asked me, how do I live higher? And what they're basically asking me is, how do I get out of my rut? Or how do I do something more than what I'm doing, because it's not making it. It's not, I don't feel happy. I don't feel happy on the inside, or I feel empty, or, I'm not as good as sister. I'm not as good as a daughter. I'm not as good as businesswoman, as a person as you are. And I'm thinking to myself, why? I'm just being me. But how I grew up is I've overcome a lot of situations. I've overcome many things. One of them is abuse. And I'm going to be very vague about that because it has liberated my whole testimony, or my story rather, has liberated a lot of women and a lot of people and even a lot of men. It's helped the fatherless, definitely. Because then there's been that aspect of it. It's just what I've done in the midst of abuse. It's what I've done in the midst of growing up in a home the way I have, and I've had to overcome a lot of things. A lot of things in health, a lot of diagnoses, and with that being said, it's how I did it. So the book kind of describes some personal stories and what I've done with those. It gives a lot of research on helping the mind. So what is higher living and what is the book concept? It's basically a feel good, I can think higher. And it's not just well, why would I want to think higher? Trust me, you want to think higher because it may get you into a new relatability for yourself to push you further to that next level way of thinking. Am I going to promise a good career from this? Am I going to promise private jets and mansions and things? No, I'm not going to promise it, but I'm going to promise that you're going to be in a good state when something good comes your way and you don't sabotage it. A lot of people self-sabotage, and a lot of people, in fact 73% of people these days, only fulfill a promise and a goal because somebody else put them up to it and for somebody else. They didn't do it for themselves. So this book is self-help, not to the point of narcissism, but to a point of healthiness.
So if I may,
Sure.
it's basically, hey, you might be kind of either in this hole or in this route, and here are ways that you found to help you kind of, when you say higher, lift you out of that rut, get you out of that hole, get you to kind of be open to new opportunities and things that might help improve your life.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And if I'm just going to go just a little bit into this without going too much. There's a businessman, a very prominent Chinaman who's a businessman in one of the chapters in my book. He works his employees to the ground, but his background is that of he excelled very early on at the age of 23. He excelled as an air conditioning man. He excelled in he became the best known in his area, the most well known in all of China. That is hard to do. That is very hard to do in the metropolitan, up and coming cities. You will have to work on another level because I know the mindset already. I've interacted with that culture. I've partnered in with that culture in many things. That is extremely difficult. And he excelled at this. And he said he works his employees to the ground, and he built a skyscraper in a very short amount of time, in a record-breaking amount of time. It could have gone in Guinness. I'm pretty sure it has. If it hasn't already, it will. Because at 9 years old, he grew up in a less fortunate way than everyone else. Higher living is about that. It's appreciating where people have coming from, but it's also letting us all liberate ourselves and get further faster of where we're going.
Okay. Now I know that there's a sequel coming.
Yes.
And I know that that it's going to be a little bit different. So I want to ask you how it's going to be different, but I know that there either isn't a title or you're just not sharing the title with me yet. May I suggest Fluent Living? If you want, I'll leave, from sports fluent to fluent living. I'm just going to put it out there. You don't have to answer right now, but I'll just put it out there. So tell me about book number 2. What is that? How is that going to differ? What are we talking about in number 2?
Fluent, I love it, Anthony. I'm going to start out with that. Fluent, that is my new word. Bam. This interview's over.
All
It's
right. Now,
over. It's
have a nice day, everybody.
there.
Goodbye.
It's needed to go. It's over. Yes. Oh, I love it. I love that word, fluent. And yeah, that's exactly the word that I would place in this kind of instance and this kind of energy right now going. And that's such a word for today. So as far as the next book is so completely different because it breaks it breaks higher living down in a way that makes more sense because I've gone through more things with people. I've talked to more people, and this is geared toward a different audience. What I found was this responded to women my age mostly because my book had a feminine touch and the cover itself is very feminine. Now, men have bought it definitely, so it's family friendly, but it has a very feminine cover. It's helped a lot of women my age. It's helped a lot of mothers. It's helped a lot of growth, and it's got a very feminine touch. But there are a lot of stories that have helped men too and kind of thrust. The next book is basically the continuation. Higher living is about starting. And we don't think that any of us, we think we've started in life, but we haven't. Hence the unhappiness, hence the questioning. What am I here for? Which comes up more than what we think it does. It comes up way more. Higher living is about starting. The next book, is definitely living. Is it definitely living? The title living attached to it. I'm not going to say a whole lot on it. I can definitely say that very soon because it will be done very soon for to help people for the new year, especially because they want to get in their good goals. So the next book is about continuing on a mountain. So we're kind of on this mountaintop and we're exhausted and we just give up many times. We're exhausted. We need the water. Our bones are experiencing fatigue and we just want to get to the top. We want to get to the top in our mentalities in life. And for some of us, it's going to be impossible. Some of us, the other half will just never get there. I hope many of us do. So the next book is about continuing, and I myself don't feel perfect in this, but I'll do what I can to help you.
Okay.
So
That's amazing. We're again here with Holly Hester, Higher Living. Holly is where you can find her at on IG. We're going to take a break from your story for a second. We're going to do your first pick. So we got 5 picks to make in this weekend's game. We're going to start with the Thursday nighter because this is being aired on Thursday night. So there'll be a game that's about to start. I don't know where we're going to go. I'll tell you my pick after yours. But I'll give you a little bit of information. We got the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles traveling down to the state you're in right now, but they're going to see the Houston Texans. The Eagles are favored to win by 14 points. Are you taking the Philadelphia Eagles or the Houston Texans?
Oh, I have roots with the Texans and with the Astros, but I let it go for the Lakers. I let it go for the Lakers and the Dodgers when I became native here in Los Angeles and things. I'm gonna go. I'm sorry with the Philadelphia, with the Eagles on this. They won a championship. I know. I can just
You're
hear
going with the
my
Eagles. So
fellow.
you think the Eagles by more than 2 touchdowns? You got the Eagles.
I have the Eagles,
That's not.
unfortunately.
Listen, no, you don't have to apologize. That's not
ridiculous.
That's not ridiculous
Okay.
to say that.
It's not ridiculous to say that. However, for those that watch Crunching the Numbers, they know I am a huge friend of Lovie Smith, who is the head coach of the Houston Texans. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles win this game, but I'm going to say the Texans surprise everybody and keep it a little bit close. A little bit close. They lose by 12, so I'm going to go with the Texans. Holly's got the Eagles. That's okay. That's the popular pick. I go against the grain, but you got the popular pick. All right. Let's move to, do you want to do the artist side or the actor side next? I'll let you pay. It's like choose your own adventure.
Whichever one we haven't
Let's go with the art. Let's go with the art. Let's go with the art because if you go to Facebook, Art Mo has stuff for fun, and for sale. So tell me, how do you get into? It's acrylic art, correct? I want to make sure I'm right. How do you get it? How do you get into? What kind of things do you do?
Okay, so I've hung out. A lot of my friends are actually artists. They just do it professionally, and for pleasure too. Which you have to do both. You can't just do one. You know, there are poor, struggling artists out there. They were in the Renaissance area before they are now. So it was one of those things. You love it. And if you get paid for it, you know you're on the right track anyway. But the point is to have a love for it. And who cares about money when you're doing it? Self-expression. So a lot of my friends, it's in my surroundings. I come from a very creative family. My great grandmother was actually on Broadway and actually painted many paintings. She was actually a famous painter.
She was on
She
Broadway?
painted. Yes, she was on Broadway.
Are you gonna share
Yes.
that? Who's that?
Well, she had Lassie's puppies. Yes, her name was Ruth Bowen,
Oh, okay.
actually. She came from English blood, and she had one of Lassie's puppies, which you did not get. Lassie's puppies were forbidden because Lassie was Lassie. She was famous on
Yeah.
the show much long ago. And so only a number of people got her puppies, and my grandmother just got her puppies, and I have no idea why, because she was on Broadway and she had all these extravagant
Knew the right
clothes and
person.
things. Yeah, right. And so yeah, she was on Broadway. She was crazy, out there, so creative, so classy. I look up to her from the stories that I've heard about her. I'm fortunate to be related to her. She could draw little figurines and paint little figurines on decorations toward the holidays, on these little decorative little balls and things like that. I mean, she painted all these different things, and she just had this chest that she put everything in. So she was one of those very creative, very I'm dressed to the nines every single day, no matter where I go, if I stay at home or if I went out type of people. So
You get
it was
that from
very,
her, you
very
think?
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
would say. Yeah.
How would you
And
describe your art?
my art, I specialize in cities and in people with skyscrapers and things, which is probably why there's a chapter in my book called Skyscrapers. Yeah, and it helps people with the blueprints of their lives. There are also a lot of blueprints through art, which I'm going to put in my next book, an art to kind of illustrate and help people get in that mindset, in that direction, in their mindset more. So I paint people, I paint cities, I paint different things. I just actually painted a woman, a saxophone player, a lady saxophone in the nighttime in the eve. She's very cool. She's just roaming around with a saxophone, carrying a
Oh, here you go. You
saxophone.
want to?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
See,
I need a model.
there
Let
we
me
go.
know.
That face said it all. Yeah, he's in the zone right now. Yeah. He just took the idea of a saxophone player. You guys should have seen him. It's like he had a saxophone, I'm
Oh,
telling
really?
you.
For those that are going to see this, they're definitely going to, obviously we're going to be on audio as well, but some people are going to see this on YouTube. So let's jump into another game.
All right.
We'll do two, and then we're going to talk about actress, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, we got this is kind of the matchup of the week, I think, because you got surprising New York Jets. You if you watch football, the Jets have always been horrible. Here they are, pretty good. The Buffalo Bills, my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year, the Buffalo Bills. So Buffalo's going into so funny. Both teams are from New York, but they're not. So Buffalo goes to New Jersey to play the Jets. Buffalo is favorited. Got two road favorites by 13 points. Buffalo, the Bills, or the New York Jets?
Oh, um, I'm gonna go maybe. The Jets are pretty good. I'm gonna go with normally I would go with the Jets, but I think I'm gonna go with the Buffalo on
You're
that.
going with
The
you're going with
Buffalo
the
Bills.
Bills. Okay, the Bills
Yeah.
to blow out the Jets in New Jersey. The Bills picked up Naheem Hines on the trade deadline yesterday, so they're going to have another back that they can throw out there. When the spread is this big, I always think the teams are going to be closer, and I want to pick the Jets. I do, but I doubt the Jets. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna take the Bills in a blowout against division rivals, which is also against what I normally do. But I'm gonna go with the Bills too. So we both got the Bills minus 13. So they better win by two touchdowns, or we're gonna look bad. All right.
Yeah.
The next one. These guys used to be in California, but now they're in Vegas. The surprisingly horrible Las Vegas Raiders going to Jacksonville to play. And they both have 2 wins. I'm very surprised. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season the Raiders and Jags would have the same amount of wins, I wouldn't believe you. But the Raiders are 1.5 point underdogs, or 1.5 point favorites, excuse me, going into Jacksonville. So I don't know, from all the places you've been, I don't know if you've been to Jacksonville. I'm going to guess you've been to Vegas. I feel like we've all been to Vegas, probably too much. So Vegas goes to Jacksonville. Who you got, the Raiders or the Jags?
Vegas is so built up. I'm going to go with Vegas, and I'm not going to go with a sports team on that. And this is going to create probably such a controversy. I can hear it right now. It's whatever catastrophe happened, or whatever city that needs publicity at the time, is whatever sports team will win. So I'm kind of going to go with Vegas because Vegas is very built up. Jacksonville, Jacksonville, yes, it's very popular. But again, Vegas, I feel like it just has such a strong sports team because they're trying to build Vegas up for tourism and for
Yeah,
its
I'm
its
with you.
obvious attraction. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Vegas.
I have been wrong picking Vegas like every week this year, and I'm gonna stay consistent. And I'm gonna pick Vegas again because the Raiders looked horrible last week, but their best player Devontae Adams was coming off of a flu. He
Yes.
was sick, so they're gonna turn it around. The Jags, I think the Raiders big in this one. All right, so we have 2 more games that we'll do after. Let's go back. So are you acting, like, did you start acting as a kid? Did you pick it up later on in life? Are you like me? Like, I started, like, I was acting when I was like 7 or 8. Then I stopped when I was 10. And then I started again when I was on a pilot this summer. So there's like a 30-year stretch in between. Did you start young? When did you pick it up?
I don't think that you ever really stop, but I do
Well,
think
fair
that
enough.
yeah, but you have, yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
acting. I'm just acting without getting paid for it in front of a camera. But yeah, sure, I'm always gonna.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. I'm acting, but there's just no audience, and that's not my fault, right?
right.
Exactly,
They're missing
exactly.
out.
Yeah. So Anthony, I started. I first of all, I just did it. I'm not going to pull the cliche thing on purpose, but I'm going to pull it by accident and say that I followed in my siblings. That's my older sibling was a model, and my second to oldest was a songwriter, and so I wanted to do something with them. I was like, if you guys are going to start this wave, I'm riding it too, type thing, you know. So of course, there's the entertainment wave and bug, and it kind of hits you. I started as a speaker and as a writer, and that kind of paved the way. And then with my older sibling model, I started a production business with them called Higher Living, where I told you I feed people physically, mentally, and spiritually, kind of thing. I go and pick some places to eat and things like that. It doesn't even have to be extravagant. I go and feed them with history, with the monuments before they all broke, before they were all pulled down. I went to the monuments. I mean, I tried to have it just like kind of like a lighthearted motivational reality show. So I started filming that before the pandemic really hit and it got complicated. And so with that, I kind of stayed in the production work and then wrote scripts, which I'm still writing and still partnering with people. And as I got more into Hollywood, I realized not every script is going to excel. I mean, you're really going to have to partner. You have to get distribution. You have to get the right cast members. All this. With that being said, I've always acted, yes, and I've always loved to be the center of attention. Any actor that tells you that they don't love attention is just you lying, you're a liar. No, so with that being said, I loved being on the HBO set. I loved being on the Disney Channel set. I loved, after I networked and had and accumulated all these actor friends of mine that were just like me and that I could relate and resemble. I started writing my own scripts and I started filming my own things. And to answer your question, yes, I've always been interested in acting and filming and being on set. The reality of it is without auditioning and without continuing, there's a lot that goes into, obviously, Anthony, there's renewing, there's the headshot, that aspect, and there's the representation aspect, and there's the PR aspect, and things that we don't know at a young age that just kind of develops over time. And so when the wave hits, it just kind of hits, and you got to go with it, and you got to ride it. So yes, I've always been in acting. I've always loved sets. I've always been fascinated with the directors. Hopefully I can work with more directors in the future. I'm definitely talking to one right now that's been very successful at it, that even their children are successful at it. And yeah, you just have to constantly put yourself out there, and you can't be afraid of rejection. You have to just keep going and know if it's what you're meant to do and it's what you want to do it. And don't even pay attention to others when they say you can't be this, you can't be that, because they don't dictate you and they don't pay your bills.
Good point. I wanted to ask this at the beginning, and I probably
Sure.
should have. So we'll rewind a second. So I know you're in LA, kind of home base now, but where
Yes.
your sister, who's an a model, and where did you guys grow up? Like, where do you guys grow up, and then how do you end up in LA?
Sure, a really intriguing and yet kind of confusing story. I was born in a small town. I was born in a small town and a bigger city, where there's a church on every corner type thing. So I did not stay there, but I was born there. I was born in a small town where, I mean, you couldn't win. I mean, you were just a sinner no matter what. Like, it was, it was stupid, but it was so great because I was around a lot of speakers, because preaching is an aspect of speaking. And so I didn't really realize I kind of caught it. I hated religion, still do. And so I just kind of took the speaking aspect of it and started journaling with that. And when I did that, it opened up so many doors, and it shaped the way I thought even then. And so I moved to a suburb in Houston, Texas after that. And then I moved to Los Angeles as a teen. So I went from small town to suburban town to Los Angeles City. And I did all this as like this big doughy-eyed girl, starting out, and then thinking everyone's so nice. What is networking? What is competition? What is cattiness? What is a battlefield? When it's just a different way of life. Los Angeles is just different altogether.
It's
So
interesting because people ask me, like, how did I enjoy living in LA? And I said I love the weather. And they just kind of look at me and they're like, and I said, the weather was great. It was like, what, like, did I like the traffic? Did I love the people?
yeah,
Not as much. The weather
not
was,
gas prices, but the
yeah,
weather.
the weather was great. All
Yeah.
right. We have two more. We have two more picks. We have two more games to pick. Excuse me. We're on with Holly Hester, Higher Living Holly on IG. On Facebook, it's Art Mo to find her acrylic art that you can just enjoy or you can buy. So here we go. We're gonna go to Tampa Bay, but one of our teams from LA, is going to Tampa Bay. So we got the Los Angeles Rams going to Tampa Bay to play the Bucks. Tom Brady struggling through his divorce with Giselle, but they are favorited by 3 points to beat the Rams at home. Are you going LA Rams or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Oh man, because Brady has such a reputation right now. You got to give him the dude his props. He's just he is unrivaled. Um, so Tampa Bay. Oh my gosh, and Tom Brady. I feel for Tom Brady. So this is not like I'm not gonna treat this like I have to get this right. And I know I'm gonna put my sports expertise to the side because I know a little something about it. And I'm gonna go because he's going through so much with Giselle. I'm gonna go with Tom Brady. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go
Oh,
with
you're
that.
going with the sympathy vote. We're going with the
Yes,
Bucks and the
I'm going
sympathy
with
vote.
sympathy. I'm sorry.
Okay, he's going through a struggling divorce. He's going to focus on football,
Yeah,
and he's
let's
going
go
to
with
pull up the
that.
rim. All right, I'm going to go with a team that I need to win, or
Oh,
at least I need the Los Angeles Rams. I need them to win this game,
yes.
and I need this is for my fantasy football team. So if you haven't watched the Fantasy Grill, Go check that out on the Fired Up Network. I have the fantasy gods in with me this week, so they helped us do some fantasy picks. So I need my guy Cooper Kupp to have a big game, and I think that means a win for the Rams. So I'm going to go with the Rams on the road, but I like the sympathy vote. I do. I like that. Everyone thinks, Brady's won so much, he deserves to lose a little bit, but from a personal side, okay, I'm with you. All right, last game. The Monday. This is the Monday nighter. So the Baltimore Ravens, I'll try not to cry. As you may have seen from the helmet, I'm a Chicago Bears fan. The Ravens just traded for my favorite player on the Chicago Bears, Roquan Smith. So I'm a little emotional when I talk about this. I'll try to stay calm. The Baltimore Ravens are going to go into New Orleans. 2 cities you've been to, I bet. The Baltimore Ravens going into New Orleans. Ravens are favored by 3. We got the Baltimore Ravens or the New Orleans Saints. I believe with the return, I don't know if it's going to be Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston right now, who's going to be starting, but the Saints hosting the Ravens.
Well, Anthony, yes, I have been to those cities. I actually just did a book signing in Baton Rouge. So I'm going to say that city has undergone a lot. That city's weather, they have the worst weather conditions ever. Like that, yeah. So I'm not. I could go with them. Normally I would, but I've been reading so much on the Baltimore Ravens. I'm gonna go with them on this because there's certain teams you just have to pick. Like just like the Los Angeles. I mean, they won the Super Bowl this year. They were kind of due. So I'm just gonna go with the Ravens on this. I really do like the Ravens. Normally
See, we asked the question at the beginning.
It's the sun in the sky.
We asked the question, could you be a fantasy guru and you might, or a football guru, and you might be, because we're both picking the Ravens.
There we go.
I think the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, as I mentioned, the addition of Roquan Smith. I know that Rashad Bateman is out at wide receiver, but they don't really throw the ball anyways. I'm going also with the Baltimore Ravens. I think they win by at least a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the Saints in 3 points. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens as well. So just to recap, we split, I believe, on you picked the Eagles, I picked the Texans on the Thursday nighter. We both picked the Bills over the Jets. We both picked the Raiders over the Jags. I picked the Rams. You have the Bucks in the LA Tampa game. And we're both on the Ravens on the Monday nighter. So there's the recap of your pick on Crunching the Numbers. If you want to see all the picks, you can go check out sports_fluent on IG, Twitter, and TikTok. And if you want to learn more about Holly Hester, go to Higher Living Holly. Check out the book Higher Living. The second book will be coming out soon. Our fingers are crossed that it's called Fluent Living, but no promises. And then check out Facebook Art Mo to see all of Holly's art. Holly, appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining us today. And now you're more fluent. All right.